Okay, so it's been 2 years since I became a dad, and it's been fucking exhausting. Mentally, physically, and emotionally. Top to bottom, definitely the most difficult 2 years of my life. I had to adjust, my wife had to adjust, our relationship had to adjust. My son changes pretty much every day, so his personality changes, physically, what he can do changes. His sleep changes, everything changes, so it's a constant adjustment. I know everyone experiences something similar to that. I think I've tried to be the best that I possibly can be in every way and not cut a lot of corners. And I think that's just absolutely destroyed me and probably not made me be the best version of myself overall. I think the same thing can be said for my wife. In an effort to try to be perfect in all these different ways, it exhausts you to the point where you kind of do the opposite of that. Like the worst parts of your personality can come out because you're exhausting yourself in certain areas instead of maybe using the 80-20 principle and saying, hey, that's good enough. Let's move on to the next thing and be good enough at that too. So that would be a big lesson. And if I could kind of do this all over again, and if my wife and I could sit down and really kind of plan things out, knowing what was ahead of us, that would be my best suggestion. So I think moving into the next year of his life and our life together, that would be the one thing that I would say would be to work on the most, which is prioritization of things. There's no question my wife and I need more time together. I think that has not been a major priority. We talk about it, but then we don't actually do it. So, hey, we should try to plan a date for next month, and then it doesn't happen. Or my wife does want to do it, but then at the last minute she goes, well, I can't leave my son, Nicholas, no. That type of thing. And I'm like, oh my God. Like she wants to go out on dates more than me, but then she kind of sabotages everything at the last minute. So you can imagine that's a little bit frustrating for me at times. But obviously, I have my flaws too, and I'm working on those for sure. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. If I'm being 100% real and honest here, I have not kept up with some things as much as I would have liked. I think when my wife and son went to Brazil for about a month right before my son turned 2, and that did give me some time to kind of self-reflect. It was mostly getting caught up on all the things that I had either not legitimately had time to do or procrastinated on. And so it was a lot of kind of BS sort of stuff, not exactly, let me sit down and relax for the day, let me take time to myself sort of thing. It was either thinking about the things I needed to do or actually doing them. And if I did have some downtime, it was like scrolling on YouTube shorts or something that was just a complete time suck, like a social media sort of thing. I did work on some things that were productive. There's no doubt about that. But what was interesting is I realized where some of my passions, maybe in my career, could lie, gravitating towards certain things over others, just based on how much time I was spending doing certain things. Like, let me do a little continuing education for my job, and then I'm only doing certain things and completely ignoring others, for example. So I think in terms of where to take my career, I got some clarity on that for sure. Studying for a test that I need to study for relevant to my career, as well as just spending time on like AI, researching different things. So I think that was a big takeaway from the last month. In other words, coming to realizations that have been on my mind, but I hadn't had really time to myself to sort of absorb everything that I was thinking. I was always in hyper mode of, I got to be here, I got to be there, I got to get home from work immediately. I can't just take, an extra hour to kind of just get some dinner and sit down and take my time. It was always rush, 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 rush. And so I think I was able to absorb a couple years worth of observing the world, kind of seeing where things were going in my life and career and my relationship with my wife and things like that, but actually being able to solidify those and come up with a plan moving forward, I think is incredibly valuable. And I think with my son, I really was able to sit down and self reflect on his life so far and how I've reacted to it. Like maybe being too excited about certain things that were like small little things about him, or projecting into the future too much and things like that, that you need to kind of take a step back and go, okay, take off the dad goggles here. Like, don't overthink this, or don't be overly optimistic about that. You know what I mean? Of saying, oh, envisioning him at this age doing this, or as an adult, he's going to do that. Both in terms of rushing through each day and each month and each year, because it seems like the universal thing when I talk to people who are older and their kids are either teenagers or adults is don't rush each phase. And again, with my family being away and me being able to reflect, that really sunk in. Like, don't rush any of this because it's gonna go by way too fast. And you're also kind of wishing your own life away when you're like, oh, it'll be fun if he's 20 and I can kind of, we can do things as adults. But it's like, well, that's also almost 20 years from now. And it's like, I'm not getting any younger. So basically, I probably only have 20 or 30 more good years of my life left in me before it's like my joints hurt too much to do like basic things and that sort of stuff. But overall, I'm thrilled with where he is. He's seems to be healthy. He's developing mentally and physically well. And he copies me and follows me around and things like that, which, when you're in the shower and all of a sudden, like, the shower curtain peaks and it's like, who's there? Oh, it's Nicholas again, kind of watching me wash. And then he copies me. It's cute, obviously. So just trying to enjoy those little moments a lot more for the next couple of years, because before you know it, he's a kid. He's going off and playing with his friends and things like that. So I see those connections, scrolling on social media. I did do some productive things, or like found some things that were interesting. And one of the ones was just, little boys kind of following their dads around, copying them. It just reminded me of what he was doing right before he left for Brazil. And I'm really looking forward to that and miss it. And I want to really embrace that over the next couple of years. I've also been thinking a little bit about this channel. Of course, it's been great reflection for me. Like, I can go back and watch the videos, which I already have, to be honest. That was one of the things I was doing was, oh, let's watch the videos from the first few months. Let's see how good I was on camera. How could I improve my communication, not just for the YouTube channel, but generally in life, as well as what were the things that I talked about. My instinct before I started the channel and started doing the, monthly updates and in other videos is that for the monthly updates, both myself and a potential audience in the future, which has not materialized, I still have less than 10 subscribers 2 years into this. But my instinct is that they're not going to care about, little milestones. Oh, he said these words and he started walking at this age. Like, no one really cares about that, including myself. I have documented some of those things just in a document. Like, he does something interesting, I'm like, oh yeah, like this month he did like whatever and that sort of stuff, which is fine to go back on. But I think the value of getting in front of the camera, seeing my facial expressions and and how my voice changes and whether I'm excited or sad or tired and things like that is definitely interesting for me. And I feel like for other people, that's kind of a relatable thing. And I think the relationship with my wife is something that I need to work on. And looking back at the videos, I definitely see that. Like, in almost every video, I'm like, things aren't going that well, and we're not really communicating, and we're both focused on Nicholas, but not each other, and and all that sort of stuff. I probably have not included as much humor as I do in my natural life. I'm trying to ease that in a little bit without it being too corny or weird, because here I am talking to myself basically. So including that a little bit more maybe over the next year, just kind of letting my natural personality come out, and some people will like it and some people won't. But that would be my goal for the channel, is keep doing what I'm doing for the most part, add in my natural personality, focus on the relationships, focus on how I'm feeling in the moment, so it's self-reflective for me, and then it's probably more valuable for other people than just talking about my son. Oh, let me brag about one more thing he did. Yeah, no one gives a shit about that, obviously. And I think that's going to be really healthy for myself, and if the channel does succeed, it's probably because I can connect with people and I'm relatable and things like that. So that'll be my focus, and we'll see where things go on that front. And then in terms of adding the other videos, sort of life advice for my son, I have been doing a really bad job of that, But part of the reason is because I've experienced paralysis by analysis or overthinking. I I don't know whether it's I'm worried about other people judging me. It's almost like if I succeed, I like don't want people to watch it because I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna comment and they're gonna say all these things about me and I'm weird and whatever. I don't know if deep down that's actually it. I'm certainly producing the monthly updates, but like I said, I don't expect anyone to actually watch these. So there's there's no pressure. I might as well just not be posting it because I'm the only one who maybe watches it once or twice after posting it, just to make sure I didn't miss something in the editing process and it looks awful or something along those lines. Like, hey, there's no sound on this or something. I probably want to produce more YouTube shorts, maybe make some things about sports, like youth sports. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about that, as well as researching more about human development. And since I already know quite a bit about that from my own knowledge and I guess taking some college courses as well as my career, like working with athletes, I'm able to kind of figure out like what makes sense and what doesn't make sense by watching other people and using AI. And I'm able to learn some unique things, maybe like integrating the knowledge I already have and then asking the right questions. So I definitely want to start sharing that. And I think that's something people could be interested in. But I want to make some videos about actionable steps that people can take to maximize their kids' chance of doing well athletically, but also making sure that parents don't go off the rails with it and destroy the relationship with their kid and and all those sorts of things. So hopefully I can help parents find a balance there and maybe do the things that are the most reasonable and most effective that also maximize like long-term development overall for the child as well as having the most fun in the moment, especially for the first like 10 to 12 years. I think some parents are going crazy right now, and from everything I've gathered from listening to other people, that's the general consensus as well. All right, so I've probably rambled enough now, so I think I'm going to wrap up this video, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye.